three product managers with identical backgrounds. One gets promoted to director, two stay stuck. Now, look, most product managers think career growth is about shipping more features, mastering frameworks, but it's not. After coaching over 1,000 product managers from Google to fast growing startups, I've seen the same three career mistakes quietly cap people at the same level, even when they're doing everything right. In the next few minutes, I'll break down exactly what those mistakes are and how you can avoid them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. At a certain point, effort stops being the thing that separates people. It does not mean you can stop doing the work, but the effort stops mattering that much. Because most product managers I meet are already working hard. They're shipping new features, they're staying late, they're doing the right processes. They're customer focused, they're driven, and yet they are still not the obvious choice when leadership roles open up. So, if it's not effort, what is it? It's three things: leverage, positioning, and environment. And the three traps I'm going to share are basically the silent killers of these three things. So let's talk through those. Trap number one: going solo. Now, I'm not talking about the solo cups, the red cups that you use at parties. I'm talking about trying it all alone. Most product managers try to solve every career challenge alone. Interview prep, they brute force it. Salary negotiation, they watch a few videos, read a couple of posts, try to figure out and just wing it. They're smart. They can solve problems. Skill gaps, they make a learning plan. Start strong for 2 days and then life gets busy and it all just fades away. And the reason is simple. A lot of product managers, especially in tech, are really intelligent. They are great problem solvers. So they think, I can solve my career the same way I solve product issues. But here's what happens when you do that. You spend months figuring out what somebody else has already mastered. And not because you're not capable, but it's because you're doing it without a system. And without that external perspective, without the system from someone who's already solved that problem, you also don't know what you're missing. That's why top performers don't treat career growth like a solo mission. They get coaches, mentors, they join masterminds, they borrow proven processes, proven frameworks that work because they understand something most other product managers miss. Nobody cares how you got the win. They only care that you won. There's a quote I like from Alex Hermosi, who's an amazing speaker and podcaster in the world of business. And basically he says, no one cares, just win. No one's going to ask you, oh, wow, who helped you get where you got here? Has anyone asked you that? Pretty much never. No one is going to say, hey, was this an unfair advantage? Are you better because somebody helped you versus being inherently better? They just see outcomes. So here's the tactical takeaway for you. Your environment and support system determine your ceiling more than your individual effort. And I'll make it personal. This is something I wish I had done earlier. Look, when I finally invested in the right mentors and guidance, everything changed. I got new perspectives. I understood how decisions were actually made. And I stopped wasting cycles. And that's the first reason two product managers with identical backgrounds can have totally different outcomes. One is working using a leverage system, and the other is trying to do everything on their own. And look, my personal experience, this is true everywhere. Like even in my business, I tried for a while to just figure things out because I'm smart. I was like, hey, dude, I'm a Google PM. I could figure this out. And then I got the right mentor, and bam, intentional product manager took off. It wasn't because of anything else, but because of having that system, following it fully, and only questioning it once it actually stopped working. It worked for a while. Quick pause if you're watching this and realizing that you've been doing great work, but still getting passed over. This is exactly the problem that we help solve. My team and I run a free strategy session where we break down why you're not getting to the next level and map out a clear path to senior, staff, or director based on how career advancement actually works. This isn't resume feedback or generic advice. We show you how to position yourself as leadership material, get visibility, get to that next level, find that dream role, and stop leaving your career to chance. The link to book a strategy session with my team is in the description. Now, let's say you do build support. You get better. You improve your execution. There's still a second trap that keeps even high performers stuck. This one is huge. Most product managers obsess over output. Shipping more features, writing better PRDs, perfecting execution, getting really good at prioritization frameworks. They're trying to get things better. And look, those things matter. I'm not going to be one who tell you like your PRD doesn't matter or the document you send out to the VP doesn't don't matter. It does. But here's the problem. That is the 80% that gives you 20% of career growth. 80-20 framework. The 20% of effort that creates most of your career growth is completely something else. It's called positioning. Now, what's positioning? See, directors and VPs, they are not hired for execution. That's like given. You got to execute. They're hired for strategic thinking and business impact. And most product managers, they tend to get into this habit of execution. They say, oh, I'm a senior PM, I'm a PM, so right now my job is execution. Strategy is somebody else's job. And technically, yeah, you can argue that. But here's the difference between the product managers who get promoted, who get the job to the next level, and those who stay stuck. The promoted product manager starts acting like a leader before they have the title. They communicate like a leader. They frame their decisions in the context of the greater strategy like a leader would. They connect those decisions to business impact like a leader would. They don't just say, we ship feature X. They say, here's the company goal, here's the business outcome we're driving, here's why feature X matters, here's the trade-off we made, and here's what we're doing next based on the results we've seen so far. Wow. Suddenly, I follow your entire logic, and me, as let's say I'm a decision maker, I'm a stakeholder, I'm listening. What does the stakeholder think? Well, they're building an impression of you, saying this person knows their shit. They know how to make decisions. They're strategic. They have the entire picture in mind. I can trust them. And when something that needs more trust, like something was strategic, comes up, something that needs judgment, context, leadership, guess who they go to? The person who's been communicating strategically the entire time. And that's exactly how positioning works. You don't get invited to strategic discussions because you ask, but you get invited because your stakeholders already see you as someone who belongs there based on your past impressions. And this is exactly what's happened to me at times that I've done well in my career. And this is exactly what didn't happen when I sucked. And I did suck a few times. At Google, for example, when I was doing well, my manager started coming to me earlier during the strategy phase because they trusted my thinking. I was the first to review the documents before the whole team got to know because they were like, oh, Shobit can give me good input. And when the promotion cycles came around, when it came to appoint a product manager for the core product, it was obvious who was already operating at that next level. So here's your tactical takeaway. Start communicating like a leader before you have the title. Measure your work by business outcomes, not feature outputs. Communicate that to your team, to your stakeholders, to anyone who would listen, and even anyone who would not listen. Because the product manager who got promoted in our opening story, they didn't just execute. They position themselves as the person who drives impact, who thinks strategically, who understands the entire decision-making framework, and that's how they got to the next level. Now, even if you build systems and you position really well, there's a third trap that can still cap your career, and it has nothing to do with your skills. See, most product managers think loyalty and persistence will pay off. If I just keep doing great work, eventually they'll notice. They'll wait for the right time. They wait for headcount. They wait for the manager to finally advocate harder for them. And sometimes, and many, many times, none of that happens. Because the truth is that top companies hire externally for senior roles all the time. And internal promotions, I'm not saying they never happen, but many times they get delayed, they get deprioritized, they get canceled, and the product managers who are hoping to get promoted, they're left holding the bag. Not always because you're not good. Sometimes you're not good. I've been bad in my career, but because the organization shifted, the business changed, the bar moved, the manager moved out. There's a million reasons why you might not get that promotion, or your team is no longer strategic to the business. I remember talking to one Google PM, and this person did amazingly well and was still let go because the team just either was not strategic or the VP didn't understand why should the team exist in the first place. So I'm not saying the answer is to always quit. Please don't get that impression. But I'm saying this. You should always be evaluating your environment and making a informed decision like you would do for your product. Treat your career like a product and ask these questions. What are the metrics that I'm being measured on? Do I understand them? Are they trending up? Am I getting a bigger scope? Am I getting closer to leadership? Do I have a clear path here? And one rule of thumb, if you're not seeing meaningful growth or a clear path to it, let's say after 6 months of trying or after 8 months of having alignment, it's time to pivot. And that pivot could mean switching teams. It could mean switching managers. It could mean changing scope. Or yes, switching companies. Because the product managers who get to that next level faster, they don't always work harder. They are smarter in their career decisions. And they are consistently evaluating what's the right move right now for them. They don't put blinders on and just work. They don't stay stuck in an environment that can't or won't reward them. And this is the third reason identical backgrounds lead to different outcomes. One person makes strategic moves in their career, and the others wait for permission. Let's recap the three traps. Trap one, going solo instead of building systems. Stop trying to brute force your career. Your environment, your support system matters more than raw effort. Second, optimizing for output instead of positioning. Execution matters, but it's table stakes. Start communicating like a leader and tie everything to business outcomes before you have the title or the scope is given to you. Trap number three, staying too long in the wrong environment. Loyalty does not guarantee growth. If the metrics aren't moving, pivot strategically. And here's the belief shift I want to leave you with. Your career isn't about being the best product manager. It's about being positioned as the obvious choice for the next step in your career. If these three mistakes hit home and you're ready to stop leaving your product management career to chance, book a free strategy session with my team and we'll map out exactly what's holding you back and how do you get to the next level. The link's in the description. If you're serious about moving up, this is the next step. If you are planning to move, watch this video where I break down how I would go and find the exact kind of leadership roles in today's job market. Stay tuned for it.